Hey everyone, and welcome back to our coding series, season 2 of where we create our virtual bookshelf. With me, as always, after our longer holiday pause, is Judith. How's it going, Judith?
Hello. Good to be back. Yeah, we just had a discussion that we can barely remember what we did before the holidays. But that's good. We are relaxed and well rested, ready to dive in again.
Since you were the one to find out where we left it off, where did we leave it off?
So, in general, what we're trying to do is still build our virtual bookshelf application with all the CRUD operations, basically. So we want to read books from our Superbase database, which we can already do. And now we are trying to create books as well. And I think that's where we left it off. And we kind of left it off right in the middle of a bunch of errors because I think we were running out of time. So we were struggling a little bit with like the different TypeScript types, our custom interfaces that we defined. So I think that's where we will continue. And I also remember that we had a little bit of a discussion about like the auto-generated types from Superbase. We ended up not using that because I think we felt it wasn't very maintainable, readable. It made things overly complicated, at least for our tiny little application. So we are right now defining custom interfaces for the data we get back from Superbase. I think I promised at some point that I would do some research if there isn't an easier way to do that. I have not done that yet. So for now, we will just continue with our custom interfaces. And I think the specific problem we had in the end of the last episode was that basically for fetching books, so the response we get from Superbase when making a fetch request and for creating a book, we might need two different interfaces because one of them needs the ID, the response when we get a book that definitely needs to have an ID. But when creating one, we don't need the ID. In fact, like the object mustn't have an ID because it will be created in Superbase. So what I would do right now, I think, is quite simply rename this book DTO to, let's say, get book DTO.
Do you think we can extend the one interface from the other?
Totally. So
cool.
What I would simply do is say that like the create book DTO, can actually do this right now. We can simply say that's the same thing except without the ID, I think.
Perfect.
So we can probably say export interface create book, and then that's how's that syntax? I think omit.
Oh, even that way around. Ah, yeah, cool.
Right.
Yeah, I thought if we were just going to define the book DTO that we use to create without the ID, and then make the get book DTO saying like ID and all of this other type. But that way around is also good, of course.
But that has to be a type, right? Yeah, I think we can't do that as an interface then. So like this, I think. So yeah, that is good, I think. And then we just have to adapt our functions as well. So let's say this one, convert book DTO to book. That would be convert get book DTO to book. Same with this one. Convert book to get book DTO. And then this one I think is no longer, doesn't have to be partial anymore.
Ah, yes.
But it's still not happy. That's also not partial.
So, I mean, generally, we should use the one type when we're getting stuff and the other one, obviously, Niels Captain Obvious, when we're creating one. Where did we use those convert functions again? Of course, when we return. Yeah, okay.
And that's the thing, like, I want to make good on my promise to research that a little bit, because basically the only thing we use the convert functions for is to convert our Superbase column names, which we get in, what's it called, snake case, to TypeScript camel case. That's all.
Exactly. That was the origin of our entire discussion, right?
Right. And now we will have at least 4 functions to do that.
Yeah.
And
it's sort of annoying, right?
I mean, it is sort of annoying. Like, I still prefer it over this, like...
Yeah, the magic way.
Completely blown up generated code. Yes. But I miss Drizzle in this context because I like it. So like what Drizzle does is you can just say, get me the data from the database, and this column name maps to this property name in TypeScript. And that's exactly what I'm missing here. I want to say that in our example here, publication _year, I want to map that to publication year camel case. As simple as that. And I'm kind of thinking there should be an easier way to do that. We can't be the only ones who want to make that happen. So yeah, maybe that deserves actually to look into it a little bit. But I think maybe not right now. So for now, yeah, let's probably just keep it this way.
But it's still relatively straightforward. Like we have 2 directions. A book either comes from the server or it goes into the server.
Yes.
And for either direction, we have like one function to do exactly very explicitly what we want, the conversion thing. And now we even have like the specific types for those data structures going in and out.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're just going to do the same thing, these convert functions for create book DTO.
Yeah, there we don't have the ID then, right?
Exactly, but okay, where do we need this one again? When we create a book, convert book to create book DTO, yes. Hang on here.
Yeah, we have the create book DTO.
Yeah, exactly. And then this one returns, I guess, the create book DTO. So when we call our create book function, we get a book object without the ID. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Then we convert that to
the book
to a create book DTO. Yes. That makes sense. And then and this
insert. And it returns the get book DTO. That should also be correct.
That should be correct, right? And then from that get book DTO that is returned, we return the ID to wherever we call this, probably in some Next.js action magic.
Yes. And we're saying it's a promise of either number or null.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the only problem here is in our convert book to create book DTO, we're saying this is a partial book. And now I think it's complaining because the title could be undefined. So I would actually say we would instead say the input, it's a book without the ID, right?
It's a book without the ID.
Like this? Yes. And then, we don't need the ID. So
we don't need the ID.
Right. Cool. Okay. And then where do we even need this one? Convert create book DTO to book? Maybe not. We might not need that one right now.
I think we don't need that because we're returning the ID only.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
Because that's not, then we don't need it. Well, at least not for now.
Not yet.
Cool. Yeah. And then later on, we will probably need something similar for editing a book, but that should actually be the same structure, I would say, as creating a book. Or maybe not even, because I guess all the fields could be optional in that case. But we will worry about that when we get there. Okay, at least in this file, in this service, I don't see any more errors. So let's maybe jump back to our action and see why it is still complaining.
Yeah, we were about to implement this thing, right?
Right, yes.
Okay, so it says types of property rating are incompatible.
That's like, That is my beef I have with web development in general. That it doesn't even have anything to do, I think, with React or with Next.js. But I think the way HTML actually handles forms is even if you have a number input, it will return the value as a string.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
I think form data just gives you a bunch of strings.
Yeah, here we go again.
Why
ranting
not?
About forms.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that is kind of the issue we have here. So I would probably say, what do we need to do?
Yeah, so this comes out to saying rating is optional and it's string or undefined. Like, so whatever comes out of form schema parse.
Yeah.
And that's our Zod thing.
Yeah.
Says string or undefined for rating. And we're expecting a number.
Exactly. We are expecting number or undefined.
Yeah.
Why, though, I am wondering, is it not complaining about the publication here? Because that should also be a number. Anyway, we can...
Fair point.
Yeah. But maybe it will start complaining once we fix the one thing. So maybe if we just go like this, book, and then say rating is... how do we do that? Parse int or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Like so?
Yeah. I think there's a hipper way to do this now, but...
Tell me about it.
I think it's like new number something. But I'm in camp parse int and parse float because it makes sense in my brain. You know, it's like put whatever in here and parse this to an integer. Like it just reads well for me.
Like, is this how we do it? No, it's not happy.
Well, can't you just say book and then dot rating? Because we already extracted it here.
Ha! Totally, yeah. But now it's actually complaining about the publication year. Another beef I have with, I guess in that case, TypeScript. Why can't it show me everything it's complaining about in one go? You know, you fix one thing and then it comes with the next one. It's like...
It just dies over the first issue.
It's not satisfying. But yes, can I just... You're completely right. Could I just go... book dot... Yeah, that's nicer. Cool. And then we do the same thing with publication year. And, yeah. So we can't pass undefined, I guess, to parse int. So we're gonna say, if we have a rating, then do that thing, and otherwise it's just gonna be undefined, right? Happy now? Yes. I'm getting grumpy at TypeScript.
Well, you know, I think... But I can understand that, but it's also because it just becomes apparent, since we're trying to do this, well, the minimal but correct way. I think it becomes apparent how much boilerplate code you're kind of accumulating over stuff like this, right? In season 2, of course, like we wanted to make this real. We wanted to use like a popular production-ready framework like Next.js. We wanted to do this still using Supabase, but the right way with protected routes, assigning created books to the logged-in user. Obviously, we still have to do that, but like all of that sort of stuff. And I think we are taking our time to explore different options, like the auto-gen thing, and we saw that it's even for a very, very simple project with basically one table and one data type, it's already not straightforward, right? Like they are like 2 senior web developers, and it's just not straightforward. I think that is just a verdict to put out there. It's not auto magic, I think. And this is how Stack Overflow came to existence. I would say that web development is just full of nuance and of very, very domain-specific trial and error knowledge. Because it's just not always because of stuff that you pointed out, like, oh, you're looking at this one error, but then after you fix that, you realize this is not the main thing. Like, yes, it was useful to fix that maybe, but there's also situations where you fix this proxy error that just comes first in the succession of things. And then you realize I can't even do this at all, sorta, because logical error or something. And so for the amount of tooling that we have in our famous developer experience, I don't want to complain too much or whatever, because a lot of this is very magic, as we can review in our first and second episode of this season, where we just are super excited to spin up all of this madness with one button, basically. But still, here you are. And I think that's a lesson to take away with you, really, that it's keep an eye out for all of that stuff. Because if you ever lose sight of this, I would say, the pile just grows bigger in the shadows.
Exactly. And you know, I love developer experience. I could talk about this for hours and hours. And I remember our first episode of season 2, where we were just like in awe of all the magic that Vercel gave us. And they are doing like the most advanced things, just like at the click of one button, they were spinning up this whole dev environment for us, setting up a database in Supabase, connecting everything. We could pull the env vars with just one click or one command in the terminal or something.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think it's also important to focus on the tiny little things that we keep doing over and over again. And that's what bugs me sometimes a little bit. Like, why is there not a nicer way to map snake case to camel case?
Exactly.
Like, why can we do all this evolved magic, but we can't do something like that? Or why isn't there a nicer way to handle a form input that's a number, you know? Because we are already using Zod to help us with forms.
Yes.
And yet we have to do the string to number mapping ourselves.
Yes. I was about to get into the same gripe, really. I was looking at the form schema that we made with Zod, and I thought, why again did we have string and oh yeah, because the form data is actually a string, and we're applying this to the form data that we're getting over the wire. Hence, the schema that I would love to actually represent, right? Like, so, I mean, now, no matter why or how it came to be like this, but we have the Zod schema, and we have like 3 to 4 different type definitions on the server side for stuff that is actually describing the same sort of data, where we just want like a bunch of strings and a couple optional values that might be a number. So that's a lot of stuff, I would say.
But maybe we are also both missing Drizzle a little bit. Because you know that you can do that with Drizzle, right? You could just go like, the type is basically the type of this database we defined, or this table.
I mean, that's where we came from, because we were hoping that Supabase would provide this for us. Yeah. So, I mean, let's, how do they say in the movies? Let's put a pin in this.
Let's put a pin in this.
Let's see if we get the opportunity to learn more about this. And as always, of course, if any one of you out there listening to this, who are just like, since we're complaining and bathing in self-pity for the last 5 minutes, and you're banging your head on your table, please let us know what the solution is.
Yes. But I'm actually taking a note this time that I want to look into this. So into these two things. Yeah. How can we change the Supabase column names, how they are returned or how they are mapped? And the other thing was a nicer way to handle HTML number inputs.
Yeah, what about...
And then we can always decide, like, if it's too cumbersome and if this is actually the way it has to be done, I mean, this is why all these third-party libraries exist. I wouldn't hate the idea of throwing Drizzle into the mix. Like that would be, I guess, yeah, could be a little bit of a side quest. But there's a reason why ORMs like Drizzle exist, I guess. So that might be the solution, but it might also be an overkill. So I'm always a bit careful to introduce yet another framework and yet another library. But if it becomes too painful, it could be the way to go. I don't know.
It could become the way to go. And I think then at least we have, like, we sort of did the discovery research of why it's necessary.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But that's definitely not something we're going to do today. For now, I would like to see, can we actually create a book? Are we calling this function anywhere? Do we have a button? Like, I forgot everything from last year.
I don't even think that we have a page with a form on it yet. Do we? Hold on. No, maybe we do. Hold on. Create. No, we have a page.
No, we don't.
And we have a, yes. All good.
Oh, we do?
We do.
Oh.
We have books create. And that's awesome. Short moment of panic, but we do have it. So it's
we do have it. Nice.
Yeah.
But do we have a button?
We do not have a button. Who needs
exactly,
a button?
Because I just checked.
This is actually not a nav. This is just like whatever. This is like this is a button type, submit, yes, create book, yes. All of this, perfecto. Yeah. And so, we're resetting this with Tailwind. So let's actually, have this look like a button too, with like a whatever. What do we have?
Probably even just make it a capital B button, and that will give you the shared CN one.
Oh yes, thank you for reminding me. We have it here already. Thank you, Judith. That is. I just go. This is like my design engineer reflex. I think it's like, oh, it's ugly. Let's chuck a couple classes on there. I can make this pretty quickly. Yeah, okay. Let's not be stupid. That's a very nice button.
Right.
Yes,
and then that. Because I believe we are not even. We have to. Yeah, exactly. Right there. You're doing CSS again. No,
sorry.
I wanted you to.
Different priorities.
Okay, you do your CSS stuff. I will hopefully make it work, because we need to actually call the action, right? We have to create book action. What do we call it?
I think create book action, yeah.
Oh yeah, we have to export it properly.
Oh, yeah, that's also super useful.
But it's not happy.
No, it's not imported yet.
Oh.
Amazing.
All right.
Okay, let's get just a bit of dummy data in here. I do like the default styling on shared CN. Like it's, very clear, active state. I do love that. It's completely accessible. Let's try.
Totally.
Kaplouch. I didn't expect anything else, but so.
Yeah, sure.
Our parsing is not.
Type.
The title is required. Maybe we're just naming stuff. Let's see what we are sending. Let's see. Create. Payload.
I don't think you can see anything there, right?
Now we can see, like...
yeah.
But it's called _title. No, it's...
Can you just log stuff somewhere? Form data or something.
Yeah. Okay, that's a... Oh, sorry. Console. Root. dummy data, create. Well.
But it looks right.
There is a title.
Mm.
Ooh, we even have an action ID.
I didn't know that either. Okay, let's try to log the book object maybe after it has been parsed.
Maybe let's check what Zod has to say about this. Given any Zod schema, you can call its parse method to check data if data is valid. Do you think maybe we can't just stick form data in there directly? And we have to turn that into a proper object before?
I don't know.
Zod parse form data. Parse form data with Zod.
Huh.
Gotta sign in to. Okay, why not? You can do that. I love passkeys. It's just awesome. Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering if we have to do this sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This sort, yeah, because I think this is just not really the object. It's not really an object. It's like this stuff that we sometimes have in browsers. Right?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
I'm gonna ask Copilot.
I think we just really have to say object.fromEntries.
All right, let's try it.
Okay. Const data. Yeah. See, it even comes around to suggest that. Okay, let's see. Let's see what you have to say for yourself. Boom. Nothing died.
Yeah. Nice.
And do we have... Oh, I didn't. Title. Dolor.
There we go.
Aliquip. Yeah.
Nice.
That's our book. Amazing.
Cool.
Last minute success.
The part that's missing now, I guess. So we create a book and we return the ID.
Form even. Did you see that?
Right? What?
We're resetting the form even.
Are we?
So look at this. We're creating a book and it goes empty. Where do we get that functionality from? Because that's pretty cool.
That's true.
So we have nothing on our page but a form with a create booked action.
Could that be some sort of form action submit magic?
It could be. Like we're very close to the platform here. We're using form data. We're just posting it to the server.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually not doing anything. But, well, it's creating our book. And the create book returns the ID. So I think that's just the regular browser behavior. That's like almost, maybe this is even a page refresh.
Probably, right? I mean, it's very nice. But usually, wouldn't we expect to be redirected to the newly created book in this case?
Yeah.
So I think that's not something we're going to do today because I believe we don't have a page for that yet, right? We don't have like a single book page.
Exactly.
So let's, I'll just like leave a little to do here in our create book action. Yes, redirect to the book page.
We want the detail page anyway for
exactly
to display more data, like all of our notes and all of our, like all of the stuff that's sort of optional to have more space. Where we had it in this modal overlay in our first version from season 1. So we need that page, and then it would be very cool to be redirected directly onto that page. And that has a back arrow navigation to the full list of books. So.
And then I guess also on the book detail page, we would have things like an edit button, a delete button to kind of make the whole CRUD thing full circle. But yeah, I guess that is something we could do next time. We still have quite a few things to do, I guess. So we need more pages for the book detail, for editing. We haven't even touched upon form validation yet. And I think that's going to be a big topic because we already said, like, this is Next.js land. So we would have server-side form validation, but also client-side would be nice.
Yes. Let's do all of this for real. I would say the best thing to do is to validate on both sides. If we can share code for that, even better. So let's get into that whole madness. I'm very happy about the detail page because we did have the issue that all of the edit and delete action icons, as we had it in our first season, they were all on the list, which just looked fairly repetitive. Sure, there's UI tricks that you can do with, like, just show the icons on the list item that you're hovering at the moment. But what about touch people? And it's like, then the surface area for the icon, if you want to make that touch friendly, then it has to be at least 50 by 50 pixels. And so the actual, that's actually something that I really love. After our entire century of approaching single page applications and sort of moving out of them again, we had this thing where it seems like one of these things where humanity thought, that's a very smart solution. And then after trying it for a while, realizing, caveats are just too big. We try to make something too blown up, too synthetic somehow. Let's leverage what the browser has to offer. And totally. So, I don't know. In my view, if I was working on some capacity as a browser vendor or even, HTML working group, any sort of these people, I think I would have a very good time the last years where everybody's like, the web platform is very good at its job. And you're like, duh. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, totally. I think we can have a lot of fun with this. I kind of like that the whole SSR Next.js thing brings us even back a little bit more to the old school internet, to the way HTML works, to the way the browser works. And I also find it reassuring in a way, because sometimes it feels like our job is so ambiguous. Like things keep moving all the time. And if you were a web developer 5 years ago, your knowledge is already outdated today. But then when I see something like this, I tend to think like these are all really flavors and nuances maybe. But if you are good with like the basics of HTML and JavaScript, and if you have a rough idea of how the browser works, you'll be fine. Exactly. The internet isn't changing that fast, Like essentially the internet is still the same it was in the 90s or something. So
at least the basic paradigms, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And there's so much good stuff that browsers can do today that I think really add value to applications. I know we had WebSockets since forever, but the entire idea of getting protocols that you can actually keep an open connection and stream in data live, that you're kind of exchanging only in parts of your layout or something. Awesome. That you can talk to hardware devices. Awesome. Like location, or so many security improvements that you can't just do willy-nilly shit with cookies and local storage anymore, as you were able to do like 12 years ago. Like all of that stuff is great. And I think making the perfect web application is sort of approached from two sides. But so I think also the current discussion, the tiny war between framework authors and platform people speaking for web components is, or custom elements in general, is also, like a perfect example of this, where the longevity of the platform that will just outplay this entire discussion because it's in the platform. It's not going to go anywhere. Huge corporations already use custom elements for their benefits of being framework agnostic. So I think it's always good to keep in mind that there's like a pushing the barrier, like pushing the envelope for inventing new things. And that is often done by funky pants frameworks or libraries. But then slowly, things drip into the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would say for our little application, I would probably suggest to kind of finish the whole CRUD circle. So next time do the book detail page, then do the editing and deleting, and then worry about form validation. Or would you rather we do form validation next? That's also an option.
Gotta do it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. We gotta do it.
We can do but let's do that full circle thing, and let's see what we have to encounter and what we have to incorporate along the way. Because totally. Zod, for example, I didn't think we need Zod, but here we are having it for good reason already. So
yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Man. Love to be back, Judith.
Yes, finally.
It feels good to nerd out about web platform stuff again.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. I love it. Perfect.
All right. Then see you next week.
See you next week with a new episode. Bye.